They call this place a power plant. The brochures, the ones they used to hand out in the visitor center 3 miles away, called it the future of clean energy. But when you're standing up here, 640 feet above the Mojave floor, looking down at 10,000 mirrors arranged in perfect concentric circles, it doesn't look like a power plant. It looks like an altar. It looks like a giant silver eye staring unblinkingly at the heavens, waiting for God to blink first. I haven't blinked in a long time. My name is Elias. At least, it was. I don't think names matter much when you're the only living thing within a 50-mile radius that doesn't want to tear the throat out of anything with a pulse. It's 1 p.m. High noon was an hour ago. The temperature inside the receiver control room, my glass cage, is a steady 72 degrees, thanks to the backup solar batteries running the AC. Outside on the catwalk, the air is shimmering at 110, but the heat isn't what kills you, it's the light. Down below, the field, that's what we call the sea of mirrors, is blinding, literally. If I were to look directly at the reflection point without my welding goggles, my retinas would cook in under 3 seconds. The concentrated solar power system takes the gentle warmth of the Nevada sun and magnifies it into a beam capable of melting steel. It used to make electricity. Now it just makes me safe. I take a sip of water. It's lukewarm. It tastes like the plastic of the jerry can I siphoned it from 3 weeks ago. I swirl it in my mouth, counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3. Swallow. You learn to savor things when you know the supply is finite. The digital gauge on the main console tells me the molten salt tanks are at 94% thermal capacity. The turbine loop is disengaged. I'm not sending power to the grid anymore. The grid is dead. Las Vegas, 60 miles south, is a dark smear on the horizon. I'm just circulating the salt, keeping it hot, keeping the system alive, keeping the heart beating. I walk to the north-facing window. It's floor-to-ceiling reinforced glass, heavily tinted to filter the glare. From up here, the desert looks like a bleached bone. Scrub brush, rocks, the long, straight line of the service road that cuts through the sand like a scar. There's a truck parked at the main gate 2 miles out. A delivery truck. Cisco Food Services is painted on the side in faded blue letters. It's been there for 41 days. I watched the driver die. I watched him run from the cab, stumbling, clawing at his own face like he was trying to tear off a mask that wasn't there. I watched them come out of the shadows of the gatehouse. They move differently than us, more fluid, like oil pouring over rock. I rub my eyes. My hands are rough, the calluses snagging on the stubble on my cheek. I need to shave. I don't know why, but I feel like if I stop shaving, if I stop tucked my shirt in, if I stop filling out the daily logbook, then I stop being the operator. And if I stop being the operator, I'm just meat in a metal can waiting to be opened. The wind buffets the tower. It's a low, hollow boom vibrating through the steel skeleton of the structure. It's the only sound I hear besides the hum of the salt pumps. It used to scare me, that sound. When I first started this job 6 years ago, I thought the tower was going to tip over every time a gust hit 40 miles an hour. Now it's a lullaby. It sounds like the world breathing. I pick up the binoculars. They're heavy, military grade, left behind by the security detail that bolted on day 2. I lift them to my eyes and focus on the base of the tower, looking straight down. The base is shrouded in shadow. The tower casts a long, thin darkness over the mirror field. That's the danger zone, the umbra. That's where they hide during the day. I scan the maintenance hatch at the bottom. The steel door is welded shut. I did that on day 3, using an emergency thermite torch I dropped down on a winch. It looks solid, but I see movement near the liquid nitrogen tanks. Just a flicker, a shadow detaching itself from a shadow. They are waiting. They know the sun goes down. They know the light goes away. And they know I'm up here. People always asked me if it was lonely, back when there were people to ask. Elias, they'd say, how can you spend 2 weeks at a time up in that tower? Just you and the machines. They didn't get it. I wasn't alone. I was with the receiver, Let me explain what this place is, so you understand why I'm still alive. Helios-IV isn't like those solar farms you see with the black panels on roofs. This is thermal. We use 10,000 computer-controlled mirrors, heliostats, to track the sun with pinpoint accuracy. They reflect the light up to where I am, the receiver tower. Imagine a magnifying glass frying an ant. Now imagine 10,000 magnifying glasses, all aimed at a tank of salt the size of a swimming pool sitting 600 feet in the air. The salt melts, it gets hot, over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. We use that heat to boil water, spin a turbine, and make power. The salt holds the heat, so we can even generate power at night. My job was to monitor the flow, to watch for hot spots on the receiver tubes, to make sure we didn't accidentally melt the tower structure itself. It requires precision. It requires patience. It requires a tolerance for silence. I was perfect for it. I never liked the noise of the city. I didn't like the way people talked over each other, the way traffic felt like a physical weight on my chest. Up here, it's just math and physics. Clean. Predictable. I turn away from the window and walk to the kitchenette. It's a small alcove in the back of the circular control room. Stainless steel counters, a mini fridge that smells like baking soda, a hot plate. I have a stockpile. That's the one piece of luck in this whole nightmare. Helios-IV was designed to be autonomous in case of severe weather, sandstorms that could cut off the road for days. We kept a 3-month supply of freeze-dried meals, water filters, and medical kits in the storage locker beneath the floor grating. I open a packet of beef stroganoff. It's powder and dried noodles. I add hot water from the dispenser. The water is heated by the waste heat of the electronics. Efficient. As I stir the gray slop, I look at the calendar on the wall. It's a promotional calendar from a lubrication company. Pin-up girls holding giant wrenches. It's November 14th today. The world ended on October 2nd. 43 days. It feels like 40 years. And it feels like 10 minutes. I sit in the operator's chair, the leather worn smooth by the shifts of men who came before me. I eat the stroganoff mechanically. I don't taste it. I'm listening. I'm listening for the groan of the elevator cables. I cut the power to the elevator, locked the brakes, and jammed the gears, but my brain still plays tricks on me. Sometimes, in the deep quiet of 3 a.m., I swear I hear the motor engage. I swear I hear the cage rising, bringing something up from the dark. But right now, it's day. Day is safe. I turn away from the window and walk to the field control system. The screens are glowing with data. Wind speed, 12 miles per hour. Solar irradiance, 980 watts per square meter. Receiver temperature, 1,050 degrees. And then, the anomaly warning. A small red light blinking on screen 3. Heliostat sector 7G. Alignment error. I frown. Sector 7G is on the outer rim near the perimeter fence. I tap the keyboard, bringing up the camera feed for that sector. The cameras are old, grainy, low-resolution things meant for monitoring weather damage. The screen flickers, rolls, and then stabilizes. I see the mirror. It's tilted at a weird angle, facing the ground instead of the tower. And then I see why. There's a body draped over the mechanism. It's not moving. It looks desiccated, dried out by the sun. One of the sick. It must have climbed the fence, wandered into the field during the night, and gotten confused by the reflections. When the sun came up, the automated motors tried to turn the mirror, and the body got caught in the gears. I stare at the screen. A human life, or what used to be one, reduced to a mechanical obstruction. An error code. I should feel something. Horror? Pity? I just feel annoyed. That mirror is offline now. That's 0.01% less efficiency. Resetting drive, I muttered to the empty room. I type in the command to force the motor to cycle. On the screen, the mirror jerks. The body slides off, tumbling into the dust. The mirror swivels up, catching the sun, joining the chorus of 10,000 others. The red light on my console turns green. Efficiency restored. I lean back and close my eyes. God, I'm tired. But I can't sleep, not really. I catnap in 15-minute bursts. Because even though I'm safe, even though I'm unreachable, they are getting smarter. Yesterday, I found scratch marks on the steel pylons of the tower base, deep gouges in the metal. They were testing it, trying to find a way to climb. They can't climb sheer steel. I tell myself that 100 times a day. They don't have claws. They have fingers. Bloody, broken fingers. But there are so many of them. I need to tell you how it started. I need to put it on record, in case someone comes here. In case the pilots of those jets I hear screaming high in the stratosphere ever decide to look down. It was a Tuesday, October 2nd. I was on shift change. My partner, Miller, was supposed to relieve me at 6 p.m. Miller was a good guy. Talked too much about his fantasy football league, but he knew the salt loops better than the engineers who designed them. I was down in the break room at the base of the tower, before I moved everything up top, making a pot of coffee. The radio was on, classic rock, 97.1 The Drive. They were playing Hotel California. Then the music cut out. No static, just silence. I thought the radio died. I give it a whack on the side. Nothing. I checked the plug. It was fine. Then the emergency phone on the wall rang. It's a red analog phone, a direct line to the grid control authority in Vegas. It never rings. In 6 years, I heard it ring once, and that was a wrong number. I picked it up. Helios-IV Control, this is Vance. There was screaming on the other line. Not the kind of screaming you hear in movies. This was wet, primal. It sounded like an animal being butchered, but the animal was a man. "Shut it down!" a voice yelled. It sounded like Supervisor Henderson, but his voice was an octave too high, tight with panic. "Shut the main intake! Disconnect from the grid! They're coming through the—" The line went dead. I stood there, holding the red receiver, listening to the dial tone. Then the ground shook. I ran to the window. In the distance, towards the highway, I saw a plume of black smoke rising. A tanker truck had jackknifed, plowing through the perimeter fence. It was burning. But that wasn't the scary part. The scary part was the cars behind it. People were getting out of their cars on the highway. They were running. But they weren't running away from the fire. They were running at each other. I grabbed my radio. "Miller! Miller, you copy? Don't come in! Turn around! Miller!" Static. I ran to the elevator. I didn't know what was happening, but my instincts, the part of my brain that loves silence and hates crowds, screamed one word: up. I took the elevator to the top. I locked the receiver room door. I engaged the emergency seals. And I watched. I watched the world unravel through high-powered optics. It happened fast. The news reports, before the internet died, called it a rapid-onset neurological pathogen. A fungus, maybe, or a prion. Something that rewired the aggression centers of the brain and destroyed the photosensitivity regulators in the eyes. It makes them burn. Light hurts them. It blinds them, causes them physical pain. So they hide in the dark. But the pain, it makes them angry. It makes them hungry. By sunset on that first day, the fire at the gate had burned out. The highway was a parking lot of abandoned steel, and the desert was alive with the sound of screaming. I sat in this chair, watching the sun go down, realizing that the giant machine I controlled, a machine built to harvest the sun, was about to become useless for 12 hours. That first night was the worst. I didn't have the lights off yet. I was sitting here with the control room lights on. I heard a thump against the glass. I turned. There was a man pressing his face against the window. My heart stopped. We are 600 feet up. There is no balcony. There is no ladder on the outside. Then I realized he wasn't outside. He was on the maintenance catwalk that rings the control room. He must have climbed the internal emergency stairs before I locked the hatch. He was wearing a uniform. It was Miller. But it wasn't Miller. His eyes were gone, just milky white sockets weeping a black fluid. His mouth was open, the jaw distended, unhinged. He was slamming his face against the reinforced glass. Thud, thud, thud. He couldn't see me, but he could hear me. He could hear my heart beating. He could smell the fear. I scrambled back, knocking over my coffee. The cup shattered. Miller stopped. He tilted his head, his ear pressing against the glass, listening. Then he screamed, a sound that vibrated the glass, and he started headbutting the window, harder, harder. The glass is rated for hurricane winds, for hail, but it started to spiderweb. I didn't have a gun. We don't carry weapons here. I had a flare gun in the emergency kit. I grabbed it. I loaded a red phosphorus shell. I aimed through the glass. I pulled the trigger. The flare punched through the safety glass, shattering the integrity of the pane. It hit Miller in the chest. It didn't kill him. It stuck to him, burning at 3,000 degrees. He shrieked, a sound I still hear when I try to sleep, and flailed backward. He went over the railing. I watched him fall, a trailing comet of red fire plummeting 600 feet into the darkness of the mirror field. He hit the ground. The flare kept burning, and in its flickering red light, I saw them, hundreds of them, standing at the base of the tower, looking up. That was 43 days ago. I haven't unlocked the hatch since. Back to the present. I shake the memory off. It's dangerous to dwell on Miller. It makes my hands shake, and I need steady hands. I finish the stroganoff. I wipe the bowl clean with a paper towel. Water is for drinking, not dishwashing. I have a routine. Routine is survival. 1:30 p.m. Check the thermal storage. 2 p.m. Visual scan of the perimeter. 2:30 p.m. Exercise. I do push-ups on the metal grating of the floor, 50 reps. Then sit-ups, then squats. I have to keep my muscles from atrophying. I have to stay strong. If I ever have to leave this tower, I won't make it a mile if I'm weak. As I'm doing my squats, sweating through my shirt, I hear a sound that doesn't belong. It's not the wind. It's not the pumps. It's a hum, a mechanical drone. I freeze mid-squat. I hold my breath. There it is again, getting louder. I scramble to the console and grab the headset. I switch the radio to scan. The emergency bands are silent. The military bands are silent. But the sound is physical. It's vibrating the floor. I run to the south window. I see it. A drone, a quadcopter. Not a toy, but a commercial-grade surveillance drone. It's white, sleek. It's buzzing around the edge of the mirror field, maybe 300 feet up. My heart hammers against my ribs. A drone means a controller. A controller means people. Living, thinking people. Hello? I yell at the glass, uselessly. The drone hovers. It seems to be scanning the heliostats. Then it turns. The camera gimbal rotates. It's looking right at the tower, right at me. I wave. I jump up and down, waving my arms like a lunatic. I'm here! I'm here! The drone pauses. It tilts forward. It starts to fly toward me. Hope, hot and jagged, spikes in my chest. Rescue, or at least contact. The drone gets closer. I can see the red LED blinking on its nose. It's 50 yards away, 40. Then, a flash of light from below. A mirror in Sector 4 swivels rapidly, too fast. It's not tracking the sun, it's tracking the drone. The concentrated beam of light hits the white plastic of the quadcopter. Instantly, the plastic melts. The battery explodes. It spirals out of the sky, a flaming piece of debris crashing into the mirrors below.
I stare, horrified. That wasn't automatic. The system doesn't target flying objects. I look at my console. The manual override light is blinking. Someone is controlling the mirrors. But it's not me. I try to type in a command. Access denied. My screen goes black. Then, green text scrawls across the monitor. Operator 2 active. System lockdown initiated. I stare at the words. Operator 2? There is no Operator 2. Miller is dead. Henderson is dead. I am the only one with the codes. Unless someone is in the server room. The server room is at the base of the tower, in the administration block. The building I thought was overrun. I grab the binoculars and look down at the admin building. The windows are boarded up, but there, sticking out of the roof vent, is a new cable, a distinct black data cable running to a portable satellite dish clamped to the HVAC unit. I'm not alone. Someone else is here. They're at the bottom of the tower. They just shot down my only hope of contact, and they have administrative access to my home. I pick up the internal intercom handset, the one that connects the tower to the base. It's been dead for weeks. I press the button. Who is this? I whisper. Static. Then a voice. Not a scream, not a growl. A human voice. Calm, cold, synthetic. This is Control. You are relieved of duty, Elias. Maintain your position. Do not attempt to leave the nacelle. We have work to do. The line clicks dead. I stand there, the dial tone buzzing in my ear. The sun beats down on the 10,000 mirrors, and for the first time in 43 days, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of the light.
Access denied. 2 words, 12 letters. They blink on the CRT monitor in a harsh, unfeeling green font. I stare at them until they burn into my retinas, until I can see them even when I squeeze my eyes shut. I am the receiver operator. I have the lanyard. I have the biometric clearance. I have the 6 years of seniority and the certification from the Department of Energy hanging on the wall behind me, gathering dust. But according to the machine that keeps me alive, I am nothing. I slam my fist onto the console. It hurts. A sharp, stinging pain that travels up my wrist. It's a good pain. It reminds me I'm not a ghost. Open the damn system! I scream at the screen. Silence. Just the hum of the salt pumps, indifferent to my rage. I pace the circular room, my cage. It's 30 feet in diameter. I know every scuff mark on the floor tiles. I know exactly where the welding seam on the north wall is slightly uneven. I pace like a tiger in a zoo, calculating, breathing hard. Whoever is down there, Control, he called himself. He has the master key. In the hierarchy of industrial control systems, the local override at the base station trumps the remote terminal unit up here. He's sitting in the server room, probably surrounded by banks of blinking LEDs, typing commands that dictate my reality. I walk to the window again. I shouldn't, but I do. And look down at the spot where the drone crashed. There's nothing left but a smudge of black carbon on the pristine white gravel of the mirror field. A scorch mark. That drone was a lifeline. It was a message in a bottle from a world I thought was dead. And he burned it. He used my mirrors to burn it. I grab the binoculars. I focus on the administration building again. It looks dormant. The windows are still boarded up with heavy plywood. The doors are shut. But that new data cable on the roof, it's throbbing. Not literally, but I can feel the data pulsing through it. He's not just surviving down there, he's operating. I pick up the intercom handset again. The plastic is sweaty in my grip. Why? I ask. I don't press the button yet. I just practice the word. Why? I press the button. You killed them, I say. My voice is steady, surprisingly steady. Whoever was flying that drone, you blinded them. They crashed. The static hisses for 3 seconds, long enough for me to wonder if he's even listening. They were unauthorized, the voice returns. It's distorted, processed, like he's running it through a vocoder or speaking through a gas mask. Light discipline? I laugh, a dry, cracking sound. You just fired a 2-megawatt solar flare into the sky. You think nobody saw that? It was a calculated, necessary action. Sit down, Elias. Monitor the salt temperature. Flow rate in Loop B is dropping. I look at the screen. He's right. Loop B, the secondary heat exchanger, is showing a flow variance. If the salt stops moving, it freezes. If it freezes in the pipes, it expands. If it expands, the pipes burst. If the pipes burst, the tower loses pressure, the cooling system fails, and this glass room becomes a blast furnace. I can't fix it, I say. You locked me out. I locked you out of the targeting array. Thermal management is still yours. Do your job. The line clicks dead again. Do your job. The world has ended. The dead are walking. The sun is a weapon, and I'm being told to watch the flow rate. I sit down. I hate myself for it, but I sit down. I pull up the Loop B schematics. I start adjusting the variable frequency drives, balancing the pressure. My hands move automatically. Muscle memory. I am a prisoner, but a prisoner who refuses to work is a dead prisoner. So I work. 3:45 p.m. The sun is beginning its descent. In the Mojave, sunset isn't a gentle fading of the light, it's a retreat. The shadows lengthen aggressively, stretching out from the rocks and the scrub brush like grasping fingers. The shadow of the tower, the umbra, is now 3 miles long. It cuts across the mirror field, across the perimeter fence, and spills out onto the highway. I watch the transition. This is the dangerous time, the twilight zone. When the sun is high, the mirrors are bright, too bright for them. The reflected UV radiation burns their skin, boils the fluid in their eyes. But as the sun dips, the angle becomes shallow. The intensity drops. I see the first one emerge at 4:15 p.m. I'm scanning Sector 9 with the binoculars. There's a drainage culvert that runs under the perimeter fence. It's dry, choked with tumbleweeds. Something pushes the tumbleweeds aside. It's a woman, or it was. She's wearing the tattered remains of a floral dress. Her skin is the color of wet ash. She crawls out of the culvert on all fours, moving with that unsettling, insect-like jitter they all have. She lifts her head, sniffing the air. She's blind, likely. The disease eats the optic nerves first, but her ears, the cartilage is elongated, the structure shifted. They hear everything. They use echolocation, clicking their teeth or snapping their fingers to map the world. She clicks. I can't hear it from up here, but I see her jaw spasm. Click, click, click. She turns her head toward the tower. She knows. Another one crawls out behind her, then a third, a child, small, fast, scuttling like a spider. Usually, this is when I would initiate the stow sequence. I would turn the mirrors face down to protect them from sand and wind for the night. It makes the field dark. It turns the plant into a graveyard. But tonight, the mirrors aren't moving. I check the console. The sun tracking is still active. "Control," I say into the intercom. "Sun angle is getting low. We need to stow the field." "Negative," the voice comes back instantly. "Leave the array active." "Active?" I grip the desk. "Why? We're losing efficiency. We can't generate power with this angle. And the reflection is the point. Watch." I look out the window. The mirrors in Sector 9, where the creatures are emerging, suddenly shift. They aren't tracking the sun anymore. They are pivoting, angling down. They are catching the last dying rays of the sunset, the golden hour light, and focusing it. Not on the tower, on the culvert. A beam of concentrated amber light, thick with heat, slams into the ground right in front of the culvert. The woman in the floral dress shrieks. I can hear this one. It's faint through the glass, but sharp. She recoils, her skin blistering instantly where the light touched her. She scrambles back into the darkness of the pipe. The beam holds steady. A wall of light, a barrier. My God, I whisper. He's not generating power. He's building a fence made of photons. I watch as the mirrors ripple. It's beautiful and terrifying. The software down there, he must have rewritten the tracking algorithms. He's using the residual solar energy to create a perimeter of focused heat around the base. But the sun is setting fast, 4:50 p.m. The light is turning purple, then deep blue. The energy is fading. You can't reflect what isn't there. It won't hold, I say into the mic. Once the sun drops below the horizon, you're defenseless. I know. That's why I need you to go outside. My stomach drops. What? The floodlights, the halogen security banks on the upper catwalk. They are wired to a manual breaker on the external platform. I need you to engage them. No. I shake my head violently. No way. I haven't opened that hatch in 40 days. Elias. His voice drops the synthetic distortion for a second. It sounds human, tired. The solar barrier will fail in 10 minutes. When it does, they will come. Not just 3 of them, the swarm. I can see them on the seismic sensors. There are hundreds. If we don't light up the base, they will breach the admin block. If they breach the admin block, they kill me. If they kill me, the cooling system shuts down, and you cook. He's right. It's a logic trap, a perfect, brutal syllogism. I look at the hatch door. It's a heavy steel slab with a wheel handle. Beyond it lies the catwalk, the wind, the height, and the night. I am putting on my suit. It's not a spacesuit. It's a heavy canvas maintenance coverall, fire-resistant. I zip it up to my chin. I pull on my gloves, thick leather, stained with grease. I lace my boots tight. I grab the large wrench from the tool rack. It's heavy iron, 2 feet long. It's for loosening bolts, but it feels like a weapon. It's the only weapon I have. 10 minutes, Control says. You have 10 minutes before total darkness. Shut up, I mutter. I stand in front of the hatch. My breathing is loud in the small room. In, out, in, out. I grab the wheel. It's cold. I turn it. The metal groans. Years of rust and disuse complain as the locking pins retract. Clank, clank. I push. The wind hits me first. It's violent. Up here, without the glass to shield me, the wind is a physical assault. It roars in my ears, whipping my hair, stinging my eyes. The smell hits me next. Ozone, dust, and underneath it, a faint, sweet rot. The smell of the dying world rising up on the thermals. I step out onto the grating. The vertigo is instant. Through the gaps in the metal floor, I can see all the way down, 600 feet of nothing, just the skeletal steel trusses of the tower fading into the gloom. My knees buckle. I grab the railing so hard my knuckles turn white. Don't look down, I yell to myself over the wind. Look at the breaker. The breaker box is on the south side of the platform, about 30 feet away, a narrow walkway suspended in the void. I start to shuffle, 1 foot, then the other. The tower sways. It's a gentle motion, maybe only a few inches, but up here, exposed, it feels like the whole structure is tipping over. The sun is a sliver of red on the horizon. The solar fence below is fading. The beams of light are turning weak, diffused. I hear them. From this height, the sound carries, a chorus of clicks and shrieks rising from the desert floor. The swarm is waking up. I reach the breaker box. It's an old gray industrial cabinet bolted to the railing. I pull the latch. It's stuck. Come on, I grunt. I jam the wrench into the latch and pry. It pops open with a screech of metal. Inside, there are 3 massive levers. They control the high-intensity halogen floodlights aimed at the base of the tower. I grab the first lever. Ka-chunk! A bank of lights explodes into life below me. I yank the second lever. Ka-chunk! The creature lands on the railing 10 feet from me. The metal shudders under the impact. It hisses, turning its eyeless face towards me. I yank the third lever. Ka-chunk! The entire tower lights up. But not just the lights pointing down. The maintenance lights on the catwalk flare to life. And they are bright, halogen white, blinding. The creature screams. It throws its hands up to his face, shielding its sensitive skin. The light is burning it. It thrashes, disoriented. I don't wait. I swing the wrench. I put every ounce of fear, every ounce of isolation, every ounce of anger into that swing. The iron strikes the creature in the side of the head with a sickening crunch. It loses its grip. It tips backward over the railing. Its claws scrabble on the steel grating, shooting sparks. Then it's gone. I don't watch it fall. I turn and run. I scramble back along the catwalk, the wind tearing at me, the lights humming like angry hornets. I dive through the hatch. I spin the wheel. Spin, spin, spin. Clang. The bolts drive home. I collapse on the floor of the control room, gasping for air, my chest heaving. Outside, the tower is a beacon, a lighthouse in the desert. I crawl to the window and look down. The base of the tower is bathed in brilliant artificial daylight. The floodlights have pushed the shadows back by 200 yards. At the edge of the light, I see them, hundreds of them, a seething gray mass of bodies pacing the line between light and dark. They hiss and spit, but they don't cross. The light holds them back. "Control!" I wheeze into the headset. "It's done! The lights are on!" There is a pause, then a sound I haven't heard in a long time. A sigh of relief. "Good work, Elias. Secure the hatch. Get some water. We made it through the sunset." I look at the wrench still clutched in my hand. It's covered in black ichor. "We?" I whisper. I look at the monitor. The access denied message is gone. In its place is a new window, a live video feed. It shows the interior of the server room downstairs. It's a bunker, illuminated by the blue glow of racks. And sitting in a chair, facing the camera, is a man. He's young, maybe mid-20s. He's wearing a headset and a dirty hoodie. He looks exhausted. He looks terrified. And he is holding a handgun, pointing it at the door of the server room. He looks up at the camera. He sees me seeing him. He gives a small, grim nod. "Welcome to the team, Elias. Now, let's talk about your food supply." I stare at the screen. The man, Julian I assume, is wiping sweat from his forehead with the sleeve of his hoodie. He looks young, too young to be holding a gun with that kind of familiarity. His eyes are darting around the server room, checking the heavy steel door behind him every few seconds. "Who are you?" I ask. I'm back in my chair, nursing a bottle of water, my hands still trembling slightly from the adrenaline of the catwalk. "Name's Julian," he says. His voice is clearer now that I'm not listening through the emergency intercom. The audio is coming through the console speakers. "I was the junior sysadmin, contract hire, started 3 weeks before the collapse." "Junior sysadmin," I repeat. "So you're the one who locked me out." "I had to," Julian says defensively. He holsters the gun but keeps his hand near it. "I didn't know if you were turned. I saw movement in the tower on the thermal cameras. I thought one of them had gotten up there. If I gave you control of the heliostats and you were one of those things, you could have melted the whole facility." "I'm not one of them," I snap. "I see that now. Nice swing with the wrench, by the way." I look at the wrench on the floor. The black blood is drying into a sticky resin. "You were watching." "I'm always watching. That's all there is to do down here." I lean forward. "How long have you been in the server room?" "Since day one," Julian says. He picks up a bag of corn chips from the desk, an empty bag. He crinkles it, staring at the crumbs. "I was patching the firewall when the screaming started. I locked the door. This room, it has its own air filtration, independent power backups. It's a Faraday cage, basically. Safe." "Safe?" I scoff. "You're trapped in a basement." "And you're trapped in an attic," he shoots back. "At least I have the internet, or I did until the backbone routers in LA went down last week. Now I just have the intranet. And you." The silence stretches between us, two rats in the walls of a dying house. "You said we need to talk about food," I say. Julian looks at the camera. His face is gaunt. I thought I was skinny, but he looks hollowed out. "I'm out," he says simply. "I had a stash of vending machine junk, chips, soda, some beef jerky. I finished the last of it 2 days ago. I'm drinking water from the cooling reservoir for the server racks. It tastes like copper and ozone." He pauses, licking dry lips. "I know the emergency protocols, Elias. I know there's a survival cache in the nacelle. 3 months of freeze-dried rations for 2 operators. That's you." My hand instinctively goes to the cabinet where the boxes are stacked. "Yeah, I have it." "I need you to send some down," Julian says. "Send it down?" I laugh. It's a harsh barking sound. "How? The elevator is locked. If I unlock it, the noise draws them. And even if I send the cage down, you're in the admin block. The elevator opens into the maintenance bay. That's outside your secure zone. You'd have to cross the hallway, and we don't know what's in the hallway." Julian's eyes harden. "I'll risk the hallway. You just need to lower the supplies. Use the winch. The maintenance hatch in the floor of the nacelle opens directly over the loading dock. I can run out, grab the bag, run back." "And if you don't make it?" I ask. "If you die, who runs the software? Who keeps the lights on?" "If I starve to death, the lights go out anyway, and then the cooling pumps fail, and then your glass tower turns into a pressure cooker. You need me, Elias. I'm the brain, you're the hands." He's right. Again. I hate that he's right. "I can't do it tonight," I say. "The lights are holding them back, but the swarm is too thick. If I open the floor hatch, the light from inside the nacelle will shine down like a spotlight. It'll draw every single one of them to the loading dock. They'll be waiting for you." Julian stares at the camera. He knows I'm right too. "Tomorrow," he says. "Noon, high sun. They'll be hiding in the deepest shadows. That's our window." "Tomorrow," I agree. I cut the feed. I sit in the dark, well, the dim glow of the monitors. I look at my stack of food, my stroganoff, my dried peaches, my powdered eggs. I have enough for one person for maybe 2 more months. If I split it, 1 month. 1 month of life. I look at the black stain on the wrench. But if I don't split it, the lights go out tonight. Sleep is a memory. I lie on the floor of the control room, wrapped in a sleeping bag that smells like stale sweat. The hum of the tower is different tonight. There's a new frequency added to the mix, the buzz of the halogen floodlights outside. It's a high-pitched whine that drills into my teeth. I check the monitors every 20 minutes. Down in the server room, Julian is asleep. I can see him on the feed. He's slumped in his chair, head back, mouth open. He looks like a kid who fell asleep playing video games, except the gun is in his lap. I get up and walk to the south window. The scene below is a nightmare painted in chiaroscuro. The base of the tower is a circle of blinding white light. Beyond that, the darkness is absolute. But the edge, the border between light and dark, that's where the action is. I put the binoculars to my eyes. They are testing the light. I watch a large male, shirtless, skin flayed from sunburns, sprint toward the light. He hits the illuminated zone and shrieks, smoking, retreating instantly. But he didn't stop because of a wall. He stopped because of pain. And pain can be overcome if the hunger is bad enough. They are learning. They are pacing. I scan the rest of the field. The moon is up, a pale sliver. It reflects off the thousands of mirrors, creating a ghostly, shimmering sea. Then I see it. Sector 4, the area where the drone crashed. There's movement. Not the erratic, twitchy movement of the sick. This is steady, mechanical. I focus the lenses. It's a vehicle, a Humvee, matte black, no headlights. It's rolling slowly down the service road,
navigating between the rows of mirrors. My breath catches. The military? The National Guard? I track it. It stops near the wreckage of the drone. Two figures get out. They're wearing night vision goggles, full tactical gear, body armor. They move with professional efficiency. They sweep the area with suppressed rifles. They aren't looking for survivors. They're looking for the drone. One of them kneels by the scorched debris. He pulls something out of the wreckage. A hard drive, maybe? He puts it in a pouch. Then he looks up. He looks right at the tower. I duck below the windowsill. My heart is hammering against the floorboards. Night vision. They can see the heat signature of the tower. They can see the floodlights. They know someone is home. I crawl back to the console. I unmute Julian's feed. "Julian," I whisper, "wake up." He jolts awake, fumbling for the gun. "What? What is it? Did the perimeter breach?" "No," I say. "We have visitors. Human visitors. Sector 4. Julian types furiously. He brings up a different camera feed, one closer to the crash site. "I see them," he whispers. "Black Ops gear. No insignia. That's not the National Guard, Elias." "Who are they?" "The people who sent the drone. The people who want to know why a solar plant in the middle of a dead zone is still generating heat," Julian says grimly. "The people who want to know why a solar plant in the middle of a dead zone is still generating heat." We watch as the two figures get back into the Humvee. They don't approach the tower. They turn around and drive back toward the main gate, disappearing into the dark. "They're leaving," I say. "For now," Julian says. "They recovered their data. They confirmed the kill. Now they go back to report." "Report to who?" "Does it matter?" Julian rubs his face. "Anyone organized enough to run Black Ops missions right now isn't coming to rescue us. They're coming to secure assets. And we," he gestures to the screens, to the facility, "we are assets, or liabilities." Great. So now we have zombies at the door and paramilitary ghosts in the driveway. "Did they see the lights?" I asked. "Hard to miss," Julian says. "We're a lighthouse, remember? We just announced to everyone within 50 miles that we're open for business." I look at the clock. 3 a.m. "Go back to sleep, Julian," I say. "We have a supply run in 9 hours. If we mess that up, the soldiers won't matter because we'll be dead." He nods, but he doesn't close his eyes. He just stares at the screen, watching the darkness where the Humvee disappeared. Noon comes with a vengeance. The sun is directly overhead. The eye of God is wide open. The mirrors are blindingly bright, reflecting heat up to the receiver. The temperature in the control room spikes to 80 degrees as the cooling system works overtime. I have the package ready. I took a heavy-duty canvas tool bag and filled it. 10 pouches of freeze-dried food, stroganoff, scrambled eggs, chili mac, 5 liters of water in plastic bladders, a first aid kit, and, as a peace offering, a bottle of hot sauce I had in my locker. I stand over the floor hatch. This is the maintenance access. It opens directly downward through the floor of the nacelle, looking straight down the shaft to the loading docks 600 feet below. "You ready?" I ask into the headset. "Ready," Julian replies. "I'm at the loading dock door. I've checked the hallway. Clear. But it smells bad out here, Elias, like wet copper." "Don't breathe deep," I advise. "Okay, opening the hatch." I pull the release lever. The heavy steel plate slides back. The rush of air is dizzying. I look down. It's a long, dark tube of steel and concrete. At the very bottom, a tiny square of light, the loading dock floor. I hook the bag onto the electric winch cable. "Lowering," I say. I press the button. The winch whines. The cable unspools. Zzzt. I watch the bag descend. It spins slowly. 50 feet. 100. I hear it. It's coming down. 200 feet. The wind catches the bag, swinging it toward the side of the shaft. Clang! It hits a support beam. "Easy," I whisper. "Don't break the water." 400 feet.
Almost there, Julian says. His voice is tight. I'm opening the door. Sun is bright. It's blinding. Keep your goggles on, I warn. Do not look up. 600 feet. The bag touches the concrete floor. Touchdown, I say. Go, 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 go! On my screen, I switch to the loading dock camera. It's a fisheye lens, distorted. I see the door to the admin block burst open. Julian sprints out. He's wearing sunglasses and a hoodie pulled tight. He looks like a shadow moving across the sun-bleached concrete. He reaches the bag. He unhooks it. Then, movement. From the shadows of the liquid nitrogen tanks, the deep shadows where the sun doesn't reach, something launches itself. It's fast, a blur of gray. "Julian, left!" I scream. Julian spins. He doesn't freeze. He drops to one knee and fires. Pop, pop, pop! The gunshot audio is clipped by the microphone, but I see the muzzle flashes. The creature, a sick in shredded mechanics coveralls, jerks mid-air. It hits the ground, sliding across the concrete, claws scrabbling. It's not dead. It hisses, trying to stand up, its skin smoking in the reflected UV of the loading dock. Julian fires again, point blank. The creature stops moving. Julian grabs the bag. He doesn't run back to the door immediately. He looks up, right at the camera, right at me. He gives a thumbs up. Then he sprints back inside. The heavy steel door slams shut. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I hit the retract button on the winch. The cable zips back up. "I'm in," Julian pants over the radio. "I'm secure. Jesus, that was close." "Too close," I say. "You okay?" "Yeah, I got the bag. Oh man, chili mac, I could kiss you, Elias." "Save it. Eat. Then we need to work." "Work?" "Yeah," I say. I close the hatch and lock it. The soldiers, the black Humvee, they didn't come for a social call. They're scouting, which means they'll be back with a bigger truck or a helicopter. "So what do we do?" Julian asks, tearing open a food packet. I can hear him chewing aggressively. "We need to fortify," I say. "You have the software, I have the mirrors. We need to turn this place from a power plant into a fortress, a real one." "You want to weaponize the array," Julian says. "It's not a question." "I want to survive," I say. "If they come back, I want to be able to burn them before they get to the gate." Julian swallows. "Okay, I can unlock the targeting safeties. I can give you manual control of individual heliostat sectors. We can create kill zones, focal points on the ground." "Do it," I say. I look out at the desert. It's shimmering in the heat. The glass desert, that's what this is now, a wasteland of sand and mirrors, and I am the man with the magnifying glass. "Elias?" "Yeah?" "Thanks for the hot sauce." I smile, a real smile for the first time in weeks. Don't mention it. The next 3 days are a blur of coding and calibration. Julian works on the back end. He strips out the safety protocols that prevent the mirrors from focusing on ground-level targets. He rewrites the tracking logic to allow for rapid retargeting. I work on the physics. I map out the terrain. I create a grid of the service road, the main gate, the perimeter fence. I calculate the focal length required to superheat the air at specific coordinates. We call it the Archimedes Protocol, after the Greek legend of the mirrors burning the Roman ships. It gives us something to do. It keeps the panic at bay. But the world outside doesn't stop. On the second night, the swarm at the base is larger. They are throwing themselves at the light. The halogen bulbs are flickering. One of the ballasts blows out with a loud pop, plunging the northeast corner into darkness. I watch on the camera as they surge into the breach. Julian has to remotely trigger the fire suppression system in that sector, spraying them with chemical foam to drive them back. It works, but it's a temporary fix. We are running out of consumables. On the third day, the wind shifts. A sandstorm is brewing in the west, a wall of brown dust swallowing the mountains. And then, the radio crackles. Not the intercom, the long-range radio on my console, the one that's been silent since October. "Any station?" This is Convoy Alpha, requesting... The signal is weak, buried in static. I grab the mic. Helios-IV, repeat your message. Static. Then, a voice. A woman's voice. Desperate. Helios, oh God, someone is there. This is Dr. Eris Thorne. We are 5 miles out, approaching from the north. We have wounded. We have the cure data. They are pursuing us. Please, we see the tower. Help us. Who is pursuing you? I ask. The blackout, she screams. The soldiers, they want the data. They're right behind us. We need sanctuary. I look at the monitor. Julian is listening too. His face is pale. Elias, Julian says. 5 miles north. That's the open desert. No roads. I grab the binoculars. I scan the northern horizon. I see dust. A trail of it. A vehicle moving fast, bouncing over the scrub. It's a civilian SUV, battered, white. And behind it, maybe a mile back, 2 black Humvees and a truck with a mounted gun. They are hunting her. Dr. Thorne, I say, this is Elias Vance, operator of Helios-IV. Listen to me carefully. Do not, I repeat, do not drive to the main gate. It is blocked. Where do we go? She cries. They're gaining. Drive to Sector 1, the north field. Drive straight into the mirrors, smash through the fence. Into the mirrors? Trust me, I say. Get into the field and stay in the car. I look at the Julian feed. Julian, I say, initiate the Archimedes protocol, Sector 1. Julian's fingers hover over the keyboard. Elias, if I focus the array on Sector 1 while they're driving through it, the glare alone could blind them. The heat could melt their tires. Not on the SUV, I say. My voice is cold, colder than the liquid nitrogen. Target the pursuers. Julian nods. He hits enter. Outside, 10,000 mirrors begin to turn. The sound is a low mechanical groan that vibrates through the entire tower. The great eye is shifting its gaze. I watch the white SUV crash through the chain-link fence. It skids into the field, smashing a heliostat, glass flying everywhere. It stops. The black Humvees are right behind it. They barrel through the breach, guns tracking the SUV. Wait for it, I whisper. Wait for them to cross the line. The first Humvee crosses into Sector 1. Now! I yell. Julian executes the command. 500 mirrors in Sector 1 snap into position. They catch the high noon sun. They focus it. A beam of pure white destruction slams down from the sky. It hits the lead Humvee. There is no explosion, just an instant blinding flash as the paint vaporizes. The metal glows cherry red in a split second. The tires burst into flame. The windshield melts, sagging inward. The Humvee swerves, out of control, a comet of burning steel. It flips, rolling over and over, disintegrating as the heat tears it apart. The second Humvee slams on its brakes, but the beam is moving. I'm guiding it with the joystick on my console. It feels like a video game, a terrible, godlike video game. I drag the cursor over the second vehicle. The light washes over it. The gunner on the roof, he ignites like a match head. The truck reverses, trying to flee, but light is faster than a truck. I hold the beam on them for 5 seconds. When the dust clears, there are 2 smoking husks in the desert, and 1 white SUV, untouched, sitting in the shadow of a broken mirror. I key the radio. Dr. Thorne, welcome to Helios. Smoke rises in a perfect vertical column. There's no wind in the field right now, just the shimmering heat waves radiating off the twisted metal of the Humvees. I stare at the destruction I caused. From 600 feet up, it looks clean, surgical. 2 black smudges on a white canvas. But I know what it smells like down there. I know what burning rubber and vaporized diesel and cooked meat smells like. My hands are shaking, not from fear this time, from power. I just dropped the wrath of a star on 20 men. I didn't pull a trigger. I didn't look them in the eye. I just moved a joystick 3 inches to the left. "Target neutralized," Julian says. His voice is flat, devoid of the relief I expected. He sounds shocked. "Elias, the readings, the temperature at the focal point hit 3,000 degrees. The steel didn't just melt, it boiled." "I know," I whisper. "Is the SUV intact?" I zoom in on the white vehicle. It's sitting about 50 yards away from the wreckage, parked in the shadow of a broken heliostat. The windshield is cracked from the heat shock, but the tires look okay. "Dr. Thorne," I say into the radio, "threat is eliminated. You can move." Silence. "Dr. Thorne?" "I'm here." Her voice comes back, shaky, breathless. I saw the light. It came down like a hammer. Who are you people? Is this a military black site?" "No, just a power plant, and 2 guys who don't like trespassers. Now listen, you need to move. The heat from those wrecks is going to start melting the asphalt. Drive to the administration building, west side. Look for the loading dock marked deliveries. My partner will let you in." "Your partner," she says. Okay, I'm moving." I watch the SUV lurch forward. It weaves through the mirror field, dodging the glass debris. It looks like a toy car in a maze. I switch to the internal feed. "Julian, she's coming in. You need to open the dock." Julian is already standing by the door on his screen. He has the gun in one hand and a crowbar in the other. He's wearing his hoodie up, sunglasses on. He looks like a cyberpunk monk. "I'm ready," he says. "But, Elias, if she brings the infection in..." "She's a scientist," I say. "She said she has the cure. Check her eyes. If they're clear, let her in. If they're red, well, you have the gun." I watch on the monitors. The split screen shows the SUV pulling up to the dock on the left and Julian standing by the door on the right. The SUV door opens. Dr. Eris Thorne steps out. She's not what I expected. I expected a lab coat, someone older. She looks maybe 35. She's wearing tactical pants, hiking boots, and a torn flannel shirt. Her hair is chopped short, uneven, like she cut it herself with a knife. She's carrying a heavy silver pelican case, handcuffed to her left wrist. She stumbles toward the door, dragging the case. She looks up at the camera, the fisheye lens above the door, and waves. Julian opens the door. Sunlight floods the dim loading bay. Thorne rushes in. Julian slams the door shut and spins the locking wheel. They stand there for a second, Julian with his gun raised, Thorne panting, leaning against a crate of spare parts. She pulls off her sunglasses. I zoom in on the camera feed. Her eyes are green, clear, sharp. "Clear," Julian says over the comms. "She's clean." I lean back in my chair. The adrenaline crash hits me hard. My head spins. "Bring her to the comms room. I want to know why I just turned $2 million of military hardware into slag." I am the ghost in the machine. That's how it feels. Julian and Thorne are sitting in the server room, 600 feet below me. I am watching them on a screen, listening to them through speakers. I can't shake their hands. I can't smell the coffee Julian just brewed, using the last of his water. I am present, but absent. Thorne is tending to a cut on her forehead. Julian is staring at the silver case on the table like it's a bomb. "The blackout," Thorne says. Her voice is raspy. "That's what they call themselves. It's a splinter cell of the JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command. When the infection hit, the chain of command shattered. General Vose took his battalion and went rogue. They aren't trying to save civilians. They're trying to secure resources, bunkers, weapons, power plants." "And you worked for them?" Julian asks. "I worked for the CDC," she corrects. "They extracted me from Atlanta 3 weeks ago, forced me to work at their forward operating base in Groom Lake, Area 51. I chime in from the speakers. "Area 51 is real?" Thorne jumps. She looks around the room, confused. "The voice," Julian points up. "He's in the tower, the operator." Thorn looks at the camera lens in the corner of the ceiling. Yes, it's real, and it's a fortress. But they had a problem. The infection, it doesn't just make people aggressive, it links them. Links them, I ask. Like a hive mind? Not exactly, Thorn says. She taps the silver case. It's echolocation, right? We know they use sound to navigate, but my research showed it's more than that. They use high-frequency bioacoustics to coordinate. It's a network, a biological mesh network. That's how they swarm. That's how they know when one of them finds prey. I think about the clicking, the way the swarm moves like liquid, the way the creature on the roof knew exactly where I was. So what's in the box? Julian asks. Thorn unlocks the handcuffs. She pops the latches on the case. Inside, it isn't a vial of blue liquid. It's a hard drive and a complex-looking piece of hardware, a circuit board with heavy copper coils. This isn't a vaccine. You can't vaccinate against a prion once it's taken hold. The brain damage is done. But you can jam the signal. She holds up the circuit board. This is a resonance disruptor. I built a prototype. If we broadcast a specific frequency, 18.4 kilohertz, modulated with a chaotic algorithm, it disrupts their echolocation. It's like shining a strobe light in their eyes, but for their ears. It confuses them, disorients them, makes them docile, painfully docile. A sonic weapon, I say. A shepherd's whistle, she corrects. But I needed a transmitter. The one I built in the lab only had a range of a few hundred yards. I needed something bigger, something with massive power output, something high up. She looks at the camera again. I saw your tower from 50 miles away. The light. I knew if anyone had the juice to run it, it was you. Julian looks at the screen, then at his keyboard. Elias, the tower has a lightning protection system, massive copper grounding cables running the full height, and the receiver itself, it's basically a giant antenna. You want to turn my power plant into a radio station, I say. If we hook this modulator into the main inverter, we can pulse the signal through the entire grid connection, or what's left of it. But mostly, we can blast it out from the tower. We could clear a safe zone radius of maybe 10 miles. 10 miles. A 10-mile circle where the monsters don't hunt. A 10-mile circle where I could walk on the ground without a wrench in my hand. Okay, I say, let's do it. There's a catch, Thorn says. Her face falls. There's always a catch. The blackout knows I have it. That's why they were chasing me. They don't want to cure the infected. They want to control them. General Vose wants to use the frequency to herd the infected, to use them as a biological weapon against other survival enclaves. If he gets this drive, he controls the swarm. I look at the burning wreckage on the monitors. He's not getting it, I say. We burned his scouts. He doesn't know you're here. He knows, Thorn says grimly. The drone, the one you shot down, it wasn't just looking for heat signatures. It was sniffing for the tracker in this case. She pulls a small, coin-sized device from the foam lining of the case. It's blinking red. I couldn't find it until an hour ago. They know exactly where we are. And now that you've destroyed his team, Vose isn't sending a squad next time. He's sending the battalion. We don't have time to process that horror show because the weather decides to join the party. I'm the first to see it. Heads up, I say into the mic. Look at the west camera. Julian pulls it up on the main screen downstairs. The horizon is gone. The mountains are gone. The sky is gone. There is only a wall, a towering, miles-high wall of brown dust rolling across the desert floor. It looks solid, like a tsunami made of earth. A haboob, a massive sandstorm. Impact in 5 minutes, I say, and this is a big one. Visibility is going to be 0. Sunlight is going to be 0. Julian swears. The solar array, we lose the Archimedes protocol. We lose everything, I say. Mirrors can't focus if the air is full of dust. The beam will scatter. It'll just be a warm glow, useless as a weapon. And the power? Thorn asks. Does the generator run on stored heat? Yeah, I say, checking the salt levels. I have thermal storage for maybe 12 hours of generation at full load. But if we lose the sun for days, the salt cools. If the salt cools, it freezes. If it freezes, the plant dies. And the floodlights? Julian asks. The ones keeping the sick away? Batteries, I say. We have backup batteries, but they won't last forever if we're running the floodlights at 100%. The wall of sand hits the perimeter fence. I watch as the world disappears. Sector 9 vanishes. Sector 8 vanishes. The sound hits the tower a second later, a roar, like a jet engine parked outside the window. The glass of the receiver room vibrates. Millions of grains of sand are sandblasting the tower. "Stow the mirrors!" I yell. "Julian, stow the field! If we leave them flat, the glass will get pitted!" Julian types frantically. "Initiating stow sequence. Going vertical." Down below, the 10,000 mirrors pivot. They turn perpendicular to the ground, trying to minimize their surface area. The light goes out. The eye of God shuts. We are plunged into a brown twilight. The sun is just a vague, lighter patch in the swirling dust. "We are blind," I say. "Cameras are useless. I can't see the ground." "Audio sensors?" Julian asks. "Useless. The wind is too loud." We sit there in the howling dark. Then Thorn speaks up. "This creates a problem." "Which one?" I ask. "Take your pick." "The sick," she says. "They are photosensitive. They hide from the light. But inside a sandstorm, the light is filtered. It's dim enough for them to move. And the noise, the wind masks their movement, but it also confuses their echolocation. It drives them crazy. It makes them hyper-aggressive." I look at the window. The dust is swirling past in thick eddies. "So we have an army of blind, angry monsters and an army of rogue soldiers coming for the case, and we have no solar weapon, and we have 12 hours of power. We have to install the disruptor, now, while the storm covers us. If we can get the frequency broadcast up, it might keep the sick away even in the dark." "Install it where?" I ask. "The inverter room. It's in the base of the tower. But the cabling, to get the signal to the receiver antenna, we need to bridge the connection manually in the maintenance shaft." I close my eyes. The shaft, the one I just used to drop the food. "Yes, there's a junction box halfway up, 300-foot level. You have to patch the modulator into the lightning ground there." "Me?" I ask. "Why me?" "Because I'm the only one who knows how to wire the inverter down here, and Thorn doesn't know the tower. You have to climb down, Elias, into the shaft, 300 feet. I look at the floor hatch. I have lived in the sky for 46 days. The idea of descending into the dark, into the throat of the tower. If I open the hatch and one of those things is in the shaft is sealed. I locked the loading dock door. Nothing gets in. Bang! The sound comes from the speakers, from down below. Julian spins in his chair. Thorn draws a pistol she must have had concealed. "What was that?" I asked. "The loading dock door," Julian whispers. "Something just hit it." Bang! Louder this time. The metal groans. "They're breaching," Thorn says. "The storm. They're using the cover to attack the base." "We don't have a choice," I say. My voice sounds distant, like someone else is speaking. "If they breach the base, they kill you. If they kill you, I die slowly up here. We need the disruptor." I stand up. I grab the tool bag. I grab the wire strippers, the electrical tape, a coil of copper wire. "I'm going into the shaft," I say. "Julian, you wire the inverter. Thorn, you hold the door." "I'm on it," Thorn says. She's moving furniture against the server room door, barricading it. I walk to the floor hatch. I unlock it. I pull it open. The smell of the shaft hits me. Damp concrete, grease, and the faint, coppery smell of the dead creature Julian shot earlier. It's pitch black down there. I click on my headlamp. The beam cuts through the gloom, illuminating the steel ladder rungs bolted to the concrete wall. They go down and down and down, disappearing into the abyss. "I'm entering the shaft," I say. I step onto the ladder, my boots clang on the metal. The wind outside is howling, muffling everything, but inside the concrete tube, it's strangely quiet. Just the echo of my breathing. I climb. 50 feet, 100 feet. My arms burn, my grip is tight. I am counting the rungs. "Status?" Julian asks in my ear. "Passing the 100-foot level," I say. "No sign of intrusion." Bang! The sound echoes up the shaft like a gunshot. It came from the bottom. "They're denting the door," Thorne says. Her voice is calm, professional, combat calm. "The hinges are holding, but the frame is warping. Julian, hurry!" "I'm splicing the main feed," Julian says. I hear the snip of wire cutters. "Elias, you're looking for a box marked ground/lightning arrest. It should be painted yellow." "I'm looking," I say. I keep climbing down. The air gets colder, the smell gets stronger. 200 feet. I see it. A yellow metal box bolted to the wall next to the main conduit run. "I found it," I say. "Level 280 roughly." I wrap my legs around the ladder to secure myself. I hang there, suspended in the dark. 300 feet of death below me, 300 feet of safety above me. I use a screwdriver to pop the cover of the box. Inside, there is a thick braided copper cable. "Okay," I say. "I see the ground. What do I do?" "You need to create a shunt," Julian says. "Strip a section of the cable, wrap the jumper wire around it, then connect the other end to the shielded comms line running next to it. That line runs directly to my server room. I can push the signal up the comms line, jump it to the ground cable, and use the tower structure as the emitter." "That's incredibly dangerous," I say. "If lightning hits the tower while I'm touching this." "No lightning in a sandstorm, usually." I pull out my knife. I start to strip the insulation off the thick copper cable. It's tough. Scree! Metal tearing. It's loud. It's coming from the bottom of the shaft. "They're through!" Thorne yells. "Doors down! Contact front!" Blam! 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 Gunshots. The sharp crack of Thorne's pistol. I freeze. I look down between my boots. Far below, at the bottom of the shaft, I see flashes of light, muzzle flares. And in the flashes, I see them. They are pouring through the broken loading dock door, dozens of them, gray, skinless shapes scrambling over each other. And then, one of them looks up. It sees my headlamp. It screams, a high, piercing shriek that rattles the ladder. It jumps. It grabs the bottom rung of the ladder, and it starts to climb. "Julian, I have company in the shaft," I yell. "Keep working. Thorne is holding the hallway, but the shaft is open. You have to finish the splice." I look down. The creature is fast. It's moving hand over hand, scrabbling up the rungs like a cockroach, and behind it, another one, and another. They are coming for me. I slash at the cable insulation. I peel it back, exposing the raw copper. I grab the jumper wire. My hands are shaking so bad I drop the electrical tape. It falls, tumbling down into the dark. It hits the lead climber in the face. It doesn't even flinch. It's 200 feet below me, then 150. I twist the wires together. "Connection made!" I scream. "Secure the clamp!" I jam the clamp onto the wire. Sparks fly. I get a shock, a jolt of static electricity that numbs my arm up to the elbow. "Done! It's done!" "Initiating the disruptor," Julian yells. "Thorne, get back! Cover your ears!" I look down. The lead climber is 50 feet away. I can see its teeth. I can see the hunger. It hisses. It prepares to leap the final distance. And then, the tower screams. It doesn't sound like a siren. It doesn't sound like a scream. It feels like someone shoved an ice pick into my inner ear and twisted it. The entire tower vibrates. I'm clutching the ladder, my cheek pressed against the cold steel of the conduit, and the metal itself is singing. A frequency of 18.4 kilohertz, just at the upper edge of human hearing, but amplified to a wattage that turns the air into jelly. My vision blurs. My teeth chatter so hard I bite my tongue. The taste of blood fills my mouth. But below me, the effect is catastrophic. The creature climbing the ladder, the one 20 feet from my boots, stops. It doesn't look up. It doesn't look down. It throws its head back and opens its jaw, but no sound comes out. Or maybe it is screaming and I just can't hear it over the electronic agony of the tower. It starts to convulse. Its hands, those long, pale fingers hooked around the rungs, spasm open. It falls. It falls backward into the darkness, crashing into the creature beneath it, and that one falls, and the one below that. It's a domino effect of flesh and gravity. I watch them tumble, a cascade of gray limbs flailing in the beam of my headlamp. They aren't fighting. They aren't trying to catch themselves. They are completely incapacitated. Their internal gyroscopes, the biological echolocation Thorne talked about, are shattered. They don't know up from down. Thud, thud, crack. The sounds of impact echo up from the loading dock floor far below. "It works!" I yell, but I can't hear my own voice. "Julian, it works!" My headset is squealing with feedback. I rip the earpiece out. I have to move. The vibration is loosening the bolts. I can feel the ladder rattling in the concrete wall. If I stay here, I'm going to get shaken off like a flea. I start to climb up. My arms are lead. My grip is weak. Every muscle in my body is trembling in sympathy with the frequency. 280 feet to go. Climb. 1 rung. 2 rungs. I focus on the rhythm. Hand, foot, hand, foot. Don't look down at the pile of broken bodies. Don't think about the fact that I'm inside a giant tuning fork. I climb for what feels like an hour. It's probably 5 minutes. Finally, I see the square of light above me, the hatch. I scramble through, rolling onto the metal grating of the nacelle floor. I kick the hatch shut and spin the locking wheel, sealing the shaft. The sound is muffled here, but still present, a high, thin whine that permeates the room. I crawl to the console. I grab the backup headset, the heavy, noise-canceling aviation style. I put it on. The silence is instant and blissful. I key the mic. "Control, report." Julian's voice comes through, tinny but clear. "Elias, you alive?" "Barely," I croak. "The shaft is clear. They fell. All of them." "You should see the hallway," Julian says. He sounds breathless. "They breached the door, but as soon as the signal hit, they just collapsed. They're writhing on the floor, clawing at their ears. Thorne walked right up to one and put a bullet in its head. It didn't even try to defend itself." "Dr. Thorne?" I ask. "I'm here," her voice cuts in. "The resonance is holding steady. The infection network is jammed. Effectively, we just blinded the entire swarm within a 5-mile radius." I pull myself into my chair. I wipe the sweat and grease from my eyes. Okay, so the monsters are down. What about the storm? I look out the window. The brown wall is still there, churning against the glass. But something has changed. In the swirling dust, I see lights. Not the diffuse glow of the sun. These are sharp, piercing beams, xenon headlights, cutting through the sandstorm like lasers. "We have vehicles," I say. "Sector 1, approaching the breach." The blackout. They used the storm to mask their approach, and now we're broadcasting a homing signal right to them. The sandstorm is thinning. The haboob is passing, leaving behind a haze of suspended dust that turns the world into a sepia photograph. Through the haze, the convoy emerges. It's not just 2 Humvees this time, it's an army. I count 4 armored personnel carriers, APCs, 2 trucks with mounted heavy machine guns, and a command vehicle, a 6-wheeled mobile ops center with a satellite dish on top. They fan out in the mirror field, crunching over the broken glass, surrounding the base of the tower. "They aren't attacking," I say. "They're setting up a perimeter." "They know we have the disruptor," Thorne says. "General Vance won't risk a direct assault if he thinks we can damage the device. He wants it intact." The radio on my console crackles. It's not the emergency channel, it's the main frequency, the one we're broadcasting on. They're overriding it. "Helios Tower," a voice booms, deep gravelly, authoritative. "This is General Vance of the United States Reconstruction Authority. You are in possession of classified government property. Power down your transmitter and surrender the device, and we will guarantee your safety." I look at the camera feed. Julian and Thorne are staring at the speaker. "Safety," I scoff into the mic, "like you guaranteed the safety of the convoy you incinerated 3 days ago." There is a pause. "That was a containment protocol," Voss says smoothly. "Dr. Thorne is a high-value asset who was abducted by rogue elements. We are here to rescue her." "Rescue me?" Thorne shouts into the mic, her voice cracking with rage. "You put a tracker in my case. You hunted me across the desert. You want the frequency so you can weaponize the sick." "Dr. Thorne," Voss says, his tone hardening, "you are confused. Step out of the building. Hands up. Bring the drive. If you do not comply within 5 minutes, we will destabilize the tower." I freeze. Destabilize. "We have demolition charges on the guy wires." Voss lies. "There are no guy wires. It's a concrete pylon. "We have anti-tank weaponry trained on your generator housing. You have 5 minutes." The line cuts. I look at the monitor. The APCs are rotating their turrets, 30mm cannons, aimed right at the base of the tower, right at the admin block. "He's bluffing about the guy wires," I say, "but those cannons, they can shred the admin building. They'll turn the server room into Swiss cheese." "We can't surrender," Thorne says. "If he gets this tech, he becomes a warlord. He'll control the wasteland." "And if we don't surrender," Julian says quietly, "we die in 5 minutes." I look at the controls, the mirrors, the Archimedes protocol. "I can burn them," I say. "The storm is clearing. Sunlight is at 40% but rising. If I focus the entire field—" "Elias, no," Julian interrupts. "Look at the formation." I zoom in. They aren't just parked. They have deployed something. Between the APCs, soldiers are setting up large reflective shields, mylar blankets stretched over frames. And the vehicles themselves, they are painted with some kind of reflective coating. They came prepared, I realized. They know about the mirrors. "They know this is a solar plant," Julian says. "Reflection is the first defense. If you hit them with the beam, it might scatter. It might reflect back at the tower, or it might just not be hot enough through the dust haze." So the hammer of God is offline. The sonic weapon hurts the monsters, but the soldiers have ear protection. I can see them wearing heavy Peltar headsets. We are outgunned, outmanned, and trapped. 4 minutes, I say. I look around my glass cage, my sanctuary. It's about to become my coffin. Then I look at the salt tanks, the molten salt, stored at 1050 degrees Fahrenheit, pressurized. "Julian," I say, "the cooling system, the loop that runs through the admin building, the emergency dump valve." Julian's eyes go wide on the screen. "Elias, that dumps the entire salt inventory to the drainage trench, the trench that runs around the perimeter of the building." "Exactly. A moat of molten lava. It will destroy the plant. Once the salt is dumped, the system scrams, the pipes warp, the receiver overheats. We lose power forever. This place becomes a statue." I look at the soldiers down below, at the monsters writhing on the floor of the hallway, at the dust clearing in the sky. "It's already a statue, Julian," I say. "It's a tomb. We just haven't closed the lid yet." I put my hand on the emergency release lever, a red handle under a glass case on the wall. Emergency salt dump. "Thorne," I say, "can you hold the frequency without main power?" "For maybe 20 minutes on the UPS batteries. After that, the signal dies and the swarm wakes up." 20 minutes is all we need, I say, to get to the vehicle. "Vehicle?" "The white USV, I say. It's still in the loading dock, right? Where you parked it?" "Yes." "Get in the car," I command. "Both of you. Julian, bring the drive. Thorne, bring your gun." "What about you, Elias? You're 600 feet up. If you dump the salt, the heat rising up the shaft, you can't climb down. You'll bake. I look at the elevator, the broken, locked elevator. And then I look at the winch, the tool winch I used to lower the food. It's rated for 500 pounds. It's slow, but it's not inside the shaft. It's external, through the floor hatch. "I'll take the express," I say. "Get in the car. Tell me when you're ready." I watch them on the monitor. Julian and Thorne scramble into the white SUV parked inside the loading dock. The back of the SUV is filled with server racks they ripped out, data backups. Julian sits in the driver's seat. Thorne rides shotgun. "We're in," Julian says. "Engine running." "Good," I say. "Wait for my signal. When the salt hits the trench, the steam is going to blind the soldiers. That's your window. Punch it through the south gate." "Elias," Julian says. "It's been an honor." "Don't get mushy on me, sysadmin. Just drive." I stand in front of the red handle. I grab the fire axe from the wall. I smash the glass case. Shards rain down on the floor. I grip the handle. "General Voss," I yell into the open radio channel. "This is Helios. We decline your offer." "You're making a mistake, son," Voss replies instantly. "Fire on the—" I pull the handle. It chunks downward with a heavy mechanical thud. Deep inside the tower, valves the size of manhole covers slam open. Gravity takes over. 10,000 gallons of molten nitrate salt, heated to over 1,000 degrees, rush down the emergency expulsor pipes. The tower groans. It shudders violently. I run to the window. At the base of the tower, around the admin building, the ground explodes. It looks like a volcano eruption. White steam blasts hundreds of feet into the air as the superheated liquid hits the moisture in the drainage trench. The trench instantly fills with glowing orange fluid. The soldiers closest to the building scream. They don't have time to run. The radiant heat alone ignites their uniforms. The steam scalds their lungs. The APCs reverse frantically, crashing into each other. The thermal shockwave hits them, confusing their sensors, blinding their thermal optics. "Go!" I scream into the headset. On the monitor, I see the loading dock door, the one leading outside, blast open, not from a bomb, but from the bumper of the white SUV. Julian floors it. The SUV rockets out of the building. It jumps the trench, the heat blistering the paint as it flies over the molten river and lands on the gravel. It weaves through the chaos. The soldiers are too busy dying or retreating from the lava moat to fire effectively. The SUV tears through the perimeter fence and disappears into the dust haze of the south road. They made it. Now it's my turn. The control room is getting hot. The warning alarms are screaming. Critical failure. Receiver over temp. Without the salt flowing to remove the heat, the receiver tubes are melting. The concentrated sunlight is now eating the tower itself. I grab the winch remote. I clip the carabiner of my safety harness, my only safety harness, to the hook on the cable. I open the floor hatch. Heat blasts up, not from the shaft, but from the ground below. I clip in. I step out into the void. I press the down button. The winch whines. Zzz. It's too slow. It's way too slow. I look up at the winch motor, bolted to the ceiling. It's struggling. I look at the remote. There's no fast setting. I look at the cable. It's steel. I pull my heavy leather gloves tight. I unclip the remote. I wrap my legs around the cable, and I release the brake on the winch motor manually with the handle of my wrench. Gravity takes me. I fall. Not a free fall. The friction of the gears slows me, screaming against the metal. My gloves smoke as I slide down the cable. The wind rushes past. The heat rises to meet me. 300 feet. 200. The air is burning. The moat below is a ring of fire. I aim for the roof of the admin building. I hit the roof hard. I roll, the impact knocking the wind out of me. My ankle pops. I unclip the harness. I limp to the edge of the roof. The moat is 10 feet wide. The salt is glowing angry orange. But there's a bridge. The personnel walkway. It's steel. It's glowing red hot, warping, but it's still standing. I have to run across a red-hot ridge. I take a breath of scorching air. I run. My boots sizzle. I feel the heat through the soles. I sprint across the metal, screaming as the rubber melts, as my feet burn. I dive onto the gravel on the other side. I scramble up. The APCs are regrouping. A turret turns toward me. "Hey!" I spin. The white SUV is circled back. It's idling near the broken fence. The back door is open. "Get in!" Thorne screams. I sprint. The limp is agony, but adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Machine gun fire tears up the gravel behind me. Flip, flip, flip. I dive into the back seat. "Drive!" Julian slams the gas. The SUV fishtails, spraying gravel, and roars away toward the open desert. I look back through the shattered rear window. Helios-IV is dying. The top of the tower, the nacelle, my home, is glowing white. The mirrors are still focusing light on it, but there's no salt to take the heat away. As we crest the first hill, I watch the receiver melt. The glass control room explodes outward. The steel structure buckles. The eye of God collapses in a pillar of fire and molten glass. I slumped back against the seat. I smell like smoke and sweat and melted rubber. "We lost the signal," Thorne says, checking her laptop. "The tower went down. The broadcast is dead." "The swarm?" Julian asks, eyes on the road. "Waking up," she says, "and the soldiers are pissed." I close my eyes. I can still hear the phantom hum of the turbine. "Where to?" Julian asks. I touch the pocket of my coveralls. I have the photo from the control room wall, the pin-up girl calendar, and a map I grabbed from the glove box. Vegas is dead. The soldiers have the north. I look at the horizon ahead. We go west, to the coast. I hear the fog is thick there. Maybe the mirrors don't work in the fog. Julian nods. We drive into the glass desert, leaving the sun behind. 3 survivors in a white SUV, hunting for a shadow deep enough to hide in.